Worldview training in the interest of cultural transformation. Thank you for standing with the American Family Association as we seek to stop the erosion of godly values. Healthcare is complicated. It doesn't have to be. If you don't love how your health insurance works, maybe it's time to leave traditional health insurance behind. Take charge of your healthcare with Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM offers you flexibility. Enroll anytime. Choose your own provider and select the program that fits your needs and budget. CHM is the original faith-based way of taking care of your medical bill costs. Learn more at chministries.org/faithfi.
I'm thoroughly looking forward to our Weekend with AFA coming up in October, where we're going to be able to meet our supporters like yourself, fellowship. Wonderful weekend.
It's a Weekend with AFA, Thursday, October 2nd through Saturday, October 4th in Tupelo, Mississippi. Speakers will include Abraham Hamilton III, Jenna Ellis, Tim Barton, Tim Wildman, and more. Register at afa.net/weekend.
We're grateful for support from Eventide Investments on the Faith and Finance program. Eventide's approach to values-based investing is grounded in the belief that humankind was created in the image of God, with intrinsic dignity, value, and worth. Eventide calls this investing that makes the world rejoice. More information is available at eventideinvestments.com. That's eventideinvestments.com.
American Family Association President Tim Wildman.
Dad was concerned about the direction America was headed, and he was determined to do something about it. Maybe that describes you today. If it does, I want to strongly encourage you to consider a charitable gift annuity to American Family Association Foundation.
Call the AFA Foundation at 800-326-4543, extension 345.
As the leading advocate for the Christian financial industry, Kingdom Advisors serves the public by promoting the integration of a biblical worldview across every aspect of the financial services industry. And we serve a growing network of thousands of Christian financial professionals, equipping and empowering them to carry biblical financial wisdom to their clients, peers, and community. For more information, visit kingdomadvisors.com. That's kingdomadvisors.com.
Thanks for joining us today on Faith and Finance here on American Family Radio. I'm Rob West. Let's head to the phones. Atlanta, Georgia is where James is located. Go right ahead.
Yes, hi. How you doing?
I'm well, sir. Thank you for calling.
Good, good. The reason I'm calling is I have a son who has basically separated himself from the family. He's told his mother and me that maybe it's time that we part ways because of disagreements or things that he thinks were disagreements.
So depending on how you want this money to be distributed over time, that trust would ensure, based on the trust documents and the role of the trustee, the person or the institution that would be named to manage the trust, would distribute those assets according to the specific rules about how and when you want the money to be distributed. And that can go well beyond your life or your life and your husband. There can be some tax advantages, that type of thing, but that would be the primary reason that you would do it. So for instance, if you had charitable intentions and you wanted to honor this loved one's memory through charitable giving, either through a regular revocable trust or a charitable trust, it could be there to then distribute to causes or organizations meaningful to your loved one, again, even well beyond your life. So that would be the primary reason that you would want to do it. Does that make sense, though?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I think the question, well, let me ask, what are your intentions? How, you said you want to invest in, and how do you ultimately see using these funds? And do you have specific thoughts about the use of these funds, just given kind of where they originated?
At this point, we don't really. I guess that's something we just need to keep praying about.
Yeah, I think so. And perhaps this becomes a part of your bigger estate plan. A lot of folks with a fairly simple estate in terms of that wealth transfer decision, determining who will be the next steward. Is that steward chosen and prepared? And when I say prepared, I mean, we want to make sure that whoever's receiving it, if it's, let's say, an heir, has their wisdom with regard to handling it outpace this wealth that we're now going to drop in their lap. What about spiritual and financial maturity? Do you want it to go to ministries? I mean, really, charitable causes and heirs are the only two places it can go other than the U.S. government, and that's not a factor for most folks until you get above an estate of $13 million. So do you want to just handle that with a will where it all be distributed according to your wishes at death, or with the trust? Do you want any portion of your estate, including these insurance proceeds, to be able to be distributed over time based on certain triggering events, things like that? That would be why you would want to put a trust in place, or just because you want to avoid probate. There is some cost there. It would probably run you several $1,000s to put it in place, but it can be a very effective tool if that's ultimately what you're looking for.
Okay.
All right. Carolyn, thank you for your call. All the best to you. Let us know if we can help further. God bless you. Nashville, Tennessee. Jerry, go ahead.
Yes, I had a question about my rental property.
Okay.
I wanted to know, so I'm 60 and my wife is 63. She hadn't worked in several years. She is collecting retirement. On my rental property, I collect about $1,800. Now, it's worth about $400,000. And I owe about $60,000 on my current home that I live in. So I was wondering, would it be good to sell the rental and be debt-free, pay off a car or about $26,000 on and pay off the house? Or should I go ahead and continue to rent the property till I'm 65?
Yeah, it's a good question. It sounds like a phenomenal investment. I mean, if you were to take that, pay off the debt, and you were to invest that $340,000 that remained, you'd probably, we would typically think about you being able to pull a withdrawal rate of about 4% a year on that, where when invested properly, you could maintain the $340,000 balance. The challenge is, that's only $13,600 a year. And right now, you're pulling in quite a bit more than that, about $22,000 a year on the $400,000 investment. So unless you just have a real conviction, Jerry, to be out of debt as soon as possible, and if you do, I'd say do whatever you have to do to pay it off. But apart from that, if you're comfortable just continuing to pay off this $60,000 mortgage on your primary residence out of existing current cash flow, and just maybe setting a goal to have it paid off by the time you enter retirement, assuming you're not there yet, then having this home that's throwing off good rental income, as long as it's not a burden on you to kind of maintain it and keep up with it, I think it's a great way to diversify your investments among multiple asset classes, including real estate, which heeds the wisdom of Ecclesiastes 11:2 around diversification, and gives you a nice rental income stream, perhaps more than you might reasonably expect if that same money was invested in the stock market. Do you follow all that, though?
Yes, I do. So right now it's fairly new home, so I don't foresee any cost to maintain it.
Yeah.
And so I think I will just continue to rent it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Again, unless there was any kind of unnecessary burden you were experiencing, or you were just saying, listen, I just don't have the energy to kind of keep up with this, make sure it stays rented, deal with the maintenance issues if somebody moves out, or you just really felt like the Lord was leading you to be debt-free ASAP. Apart from that, this sounds like a great option for you, and you can always sell it down the road.
Okay, well, I appreciate your advice.
All right, absolutely, sir. Lord bless you. Thanks for being on the program today. We appreciate it. 800-525-7000 is the number to call. We're up against another break here in just a second. When we come back, we'll head back to the phones. We've got a few more calls. Bob in St. Louis. We've got John, who's driving in Chicago. John, you be safe. We'll get to you here in just a second. And let's see, Key in Flintstone, Georgia as well. We're hearing from a lot of folks saying, all right, this is the year I am going to get on a budget, and I'm going to stick to it, because you know what? It's not enough for me to get all the expenses on a piece of paper and stick it in a drawer. Well, that's why we built the FaithFi app. Julie and I use it just about daily to make sure we're staying on budget with our digital envelopes, and at any point in the month we can see exactly where we stand. When my 15-year-old Emma says, "Hey Dad, what do I have left in the clothes category this month?" I got that answer, and she doesn't always like it. If you want to check it out, head to our website, faithfi.com. Just click app. We'll be right back with our final segment.
Faith and Finance is underwritten by certified Kingdom advisor Kevin Bruce with Align Investment Research, helping families across Collin County honor God by stewarding wealth with wisdom and purpose. Because true peace of mind comes from aligning wealth with God's design. Learn more at align7.com or call 972-972-8465. 972-972-8465. Align is a registered investment advisor.
Superintending care over his creation.
America's Providential History with Stephen McDowell.
God is at work performing his will in history. And so through this podcast, we're going to be taking a look at the providence of God in history, and in particular in the history of America.
America's Providential History. Available now on the podcast page at afr.net. We're grateful for support from Guidestone, whose diversified suite of investment solutions align with Christian values to create positive change in the world. More information is available at guidestonefunds.com/faith. Investing involves risk, including potential loss of principal. Carefully consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of Guidestone funds before investing. They're distributed by Foresight Funds Distributors, LLC, which is not an advisory affiliate, a registered investment advisor, nor do they provide investment advice.
Jesus said, "Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Today, put your heart into something that makes an eternal impact. Heart for Lebanon is sharing the gospel and protecting girls from early marriage, child labor, and violence. Your gift of $114 helps reach 3 at-risk girls with hope and a brighter future. Give generously. Text FAITH to 98656. That's FAITH to 98656. Or visit faithfi.com/Lebanon.
I'm grateful to have you with us today on Faith and Finance here on American Family Radio. Sit back and enjoy. We're going to cover a lot of ground here in our final segment. We'll get to as many calls as we can. Let's go right back to the phone. St. Louis, Missouri. Bob, how can I serve you?
Thanks a lot for taking my phone call, Brother Rob, and God bless you.
Thank you very much.
The question I have is that, I'll give it to you in a real quick note here. I've been retired for a year now from the federal government at the VA. My wife passed away a few years ago, and so I ended up giving the house to our son, and it was, this is the bad stuff, I ended up giving a lot of money out. A lot of money to me was $50,000 and more to some other family members. So my question is this: I make $70,000 through disability and annuity and my SSDI. I was no longer able to work at the VA due to my service being blown up. So, and I have $50,000 at a TSP, and I'm a renter right now. So I'm not living in a home. And my rent is, with utilities and the rent is around $1,500. Now with that, I'll conclude just by saying that I also made the mistake and got $9,000 in debt, which I'm paying off through a company called National Debt Relief. And that should want to pay that off. My question is, should I haven't used my VA loan, or would that be a good investment, or should I just stay retired renting?
Yeah. Well, thank you for your service, and I appreciate that description of your situation here. The challenge is just, I appreciate how generous you've been with family members, but it sounds like you don't have, other than a great income, and you're living modestly, and that's going to last the rest of your life. You really don't have much to put toward a down payment, although at the VA, you could get 100% financing, but I'm understanding correctly that you don't have anything to put toward the home, is that right?
Well, I have $10,000 in savings, but that's just it. And then I have $50,000 in my TSP account, which I've refused to touch that. And then as far as the life insurance policies and the other stocks and so I'm needing some help on your side of the things as far as, there's some good investments with the Simple Roth IRA, and I just listened to how you and the family use your budgeting deal, and anything you can help. And I'd like to get back to your organization too as well. I'm a faithful listener.
Well, thanks, Bob. I appreciate that. Here's the thing. I think you're doing a great job. I'd be happy to help by providing you with a certified Christian financial counselor who can help get all the pieces in place, help you set up your budget. You could use the FaithFi app to do that, help you get into a good rhythm on a monthly basis of tracking your expenses and your income and just staying on plan. I think the challenge with trying to buy a house is, if you're trying to get $1,500 a month all in, including utilities, you're probably talking about $175,000 home with 0% down, because I don't want you to chew up all that reserve that you have, because I want you to hang on that for your emergency fund. But it's going to be difficult to find a home for $175,000 in today's housing market. So I don't want you to stretch. Now you may say, well, I could do more than that. I'd be comfortable with you going up to maybe 30% at the most of your take-home pay, and that would be $1,750, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. But you got to make the budget balance. Now, if you can get up that high, maybe we're talking about a home that's maybe $225,000, with 0% down, because you have the VA. All of a sudden, now we're at $1,700 a month, probably with property taxes and insurance, and then you'd have your utilities on top of that. So I think that's the key is, you could start looking around and seeing if you could find something. But apart from that, I don't want you to eat up all that, liquid reserve, and I don't want you to get too stretched, too thin on your, monthly budget. I want you to be, have plenty to live within your means and avoid taking on any debt. And if that means you continue to rent, I think so be it. Does that make sense?
It does, and I appreciate that insight as far as having a faith and finance advisor.
Yeah, so let's do this. As far as getting that Roth in place and having some ideas on what investments to put that in, I would head and check out our friends at soundmindinvesting.org. The Sound Mind Investing newsletter, which is available online as well, will give you, through their upgrading strategy, all the funds that you could put the money in and change them out periodically. And it was founded by Austin Pryor, who was a good friend of Larry Burkett back in the day. It's a great organization. And for do-it-yourselfers who are just starting out, it kind of takes all the guesswork out, because they give you the mutual funds that you'd buy in your 401k. So it's soundmindinvesting.org. And then you stay on the line. We'll get you connected with one of our certified Christian financial counselors. That'll be no cost to you. We'll cover that. And that person will help you get it set up on the FaithFi app, get your budget set up, and I think that'll get you pointed in the right direction. Hey, thanks for your kind remarks about the program, sir, and Lord bless you. Thanks for being on the show today. To Chicago, John, thanks for your patience. How can I help?
Okay, I have a Roth IRA that I formed from a 403B annuity a couple years ago. I'm 73 years old. Will be 74 in a couple months. At what point does the RMD apply to my Roth?
Never. Yeah, a Roth IRA, as long as it is a Roth, If it was a Roth TSP and you did a rollover to an IRA or something like that, the Roth is not subject to the required minimum.
So I'm never required to make a distribution?
That's correct. You could leave that money right there and pass it down if you wanted to.
Okay, and how, I'm retired, I have Social Security and a retirement pension. I do have occasionally profits from a book that I publish, and on occasion I do workshops. Am I able to make contributions to my Roth from those profits?
Yes, you just have to have earned income in order to be able to contribute to a Roth. There is no age limit. And so earned income is taxable income from wages you get for working from someone else or for yourself or from a business, as opposed to unearned income, which is not as a result of wages or salaries or tips or something like that. So yes, if you have earned income, you can keep putting money into that Roth IRA and never have to pull it out. Thanks for calling, John. We're going to finish in Waukegan, Illinois. David, go ahead, sir.
Yes. Thank you for taking my call. My wife just passed within the last 2 weeks.
Oh, David.
And I haven't paid a bill in 25 years. She took care of everything. I don't really have a budget of any type. Before she passed of cancer. We tried to reach out to the CKA, and we didn't get anywhere with that. And I just don't know where to turn. I've shut down some credit cards, and I've been told not to shut down too many credit cards at one time.
Yeah.
And
Boy.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, we're going to help you, David. First of all, I am so sorry to hear about your passing. You're going through a really difficult season right now. We're going to ask the faith and finance community to be praying for you. I'll certainly join you in that. I realize you were not the one who handled things, and so we need to get somebody to come alongside you who can help you put all the pieces in place. The biggest thing right now is not to make any major life decisions, but to keep everything paid and current, and then we'll settle into a new rhythm here with regard to managing your finances. What I'm going to have you do here in just a second is hold the line, and I'm going to have one of my team members get your name and information. We're going to get you connected to one of our certified Christian financial counselors. This is going to be somebody who's trained in all the things you just described: spending plans, budgets, how to manage debt, how to, control the flow of money in and out, getting everything kind of, in place with regard to understanding what are your assets and your liabilities. And then on a monthly rhythm moving forward, how do you operate and set up a plan that works for you and your temperament and your wiring? I'm not trying to make you an accountant, but we want to, get you into a good rhythm where everything's current and you've got a good system. And that's where they can walk alongside you over several meetings via the phone or, a video conference. And as long as we need to, we'll walk alongside you until you feel like you're in a good place, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, David. Happy to do it. And, I'm going to pray for you here in just a second. But David, listen, our hearts go out. The Lord is going to walk alongside you. We're going to pray the Holy Spirit would be really near to you. And we know the Lord has told us in His Word He's close to the brokenhearted. And we're going to walk with you financially. And we're going to get you to a place where there's not a lot of questions anymore, but you've got a good plan and a good rhythm for how you're going to manage things moving forward. And then we know that God has more in store for you before we all reunite with those that we love in heaven someday. Listen, hang on the line. We'll get your information, get you connected. Father, we just lift David up to you. We know, Lord, he is in a difficult spot right now. Thank you for the hope of heaven. Thank you that we know that those who know and have placed their trust in you are with you, absent from the body, present with you, our Father. Lord, we long for that day to be reunited with you first and foremost, but with those that we love as well. I pray that you'd walk alongside him, you'd be near to him, bring just a multitude of people around him that can love him and encourage him, and that through Faithfly we'd be able to help him financially as well. Thank you. I ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you, David. Let me say thanks. Thankful for Sandy and Taylor and Devin and everybody here at Faith By. Certainly couldn't do this without them and without each of you listening and calling. So thanks for being a part of the broadcast today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
90.5 KTXG Greenville, Dallas.
An insider means you understand the joke that only certain ones really know. Other times, it gets you into exclusive places. As an AFA insider, you'll get information about issues and policies that can dramatically impact our families and our Christian rights. And you won't have to travel to D.C. or even dress up to get it. Find out more and sign up at afa.net/activism.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. The Egyptian illegal alien terrorist who attacked a Boulder, Colorado event in support of Israeli hostages in Gaza remains in jail. Madeline Rivera with the latest.
Police say the suspect targeted this group, which regularly demonstrates for the Israeli hostages in Gaza. They say he went to their location in Boulder dressed as a gardener so he could blend in and waited for them to arrive. Police say the suspect, 45-year-old Mohammed Sabri Solomon, had tried to buy a gun, but he was rejected because he's not a legal citizen, so he turned to Molotov cocktails, they say. While searching Solomon's car, authorities found paperwork with the words Israel, Palestine, and USAID. Solomon is charged with a federal hate crime and multiple state charges, including 16 counts of attempted first-degree murder.
The fact that this terrorist was allowed in the country and was allowed to stay has a lot of people asking, where was Biden's vetting process? White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
They had no vetting process. This is something President Trump has been calling attention to for years. He talked about this on the campaign trail, how the Biden administration was allowing illegal aliens from all over the world to come into our country illegally, unvetted, untested. We had a wide open border policy, and this administration is focused on deporting as many of these illegal aliens who enter our country as possible.
During the last few months of Joe Biden's presidency, thousands of pardons and other policies were signed with an auto pen. Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett doubts whether Biden knew what was being signed and explains why he thinks all of Biden's top staffers played a part.
Because they're going to have to show, somebody's going to show the paper trail from where some of these pardons and other things that went on the last few months, the thousands of pardons that were given. There's no way in the world Joe Biden knew who they were.
High school girls in Washington State staged a protest after a boy wins a second straight girls state track championship. The boy, who now goes by the name Veronica Garcia, a senior at East Valley High School in Spokane, took home the girls' 400-meter 2A state title on Saturday. Alexa Anderson is a girl, and she and a teammate stepped off the podium to protest officials giving the trophy to a boy.
It's unfair because biological males and biological females compete at such different levels that allowing a biological male into our competition is taking up space and opportunity from all these hard-working women. The girl in 9th who should have been in 8th and had that podium spot had that taken away from her, as well as many others. We stepped off the podium in protest, and as you can see in the video, an official kind of told us, hey, go over there. If you're not going to participate, get out of the photos.
A slate of pro-LGBTQ bills have been introduced in the Washington legislature at the beginning of this year's so-called Pride Month.
The suite of bills would ban counseling of transgender youth except to affirm their delusions and make it easier to change their legal names. Daniel Degner of Wisconsin Family Action says it would bring trans ideology into the classroom.
It would require the state to fund transgender trainings with public school teachers so that public school teachers could affirm and promote the transgender ideology in the classrooms.
And remember all those twisted phrases the left uses to avoid saying mother or father? Yeah, those changes are in there too.
It even went so far to remove every reference to husband and wife and mother and father in our entire state law.
Wisconsin would have a lot of pregnant persons and other parents if the bills pass. Degner says Democrats in the Badger State continue to take the 20 side of every 80-20 issue.
Our polling has shown very strongly that the public is on our side on these transgender issues, that they affirm biological gender at almost 80 to 20%.
He says the good news is the bills will not pass in the Republican legislature. They are, however, a promise and a threat.
These bills, thankfully, are dead on arrival. They will not go anywhere because we have a Republican majority in our state legislature. However, Democrats are sending a message with these bills and saying, hey, if you can vote for Democrats in 2026, here's what we will